Hello, welcome to another episode of Model with Mel. This week we are going to be working on some interior detailing. I'm so excited. So we have all of our walls in, our exteriors looking really great. We've worked in the building sectionally. We've made a lot of design choices, and now we're adding in some finishing touches so that we can really bring the inside 3D elements to life. So I'm going to be showing you how to do like paneling on the inside. I'm going to be going over how to paint wall surfaces, how to add in some collar ties and like fake beam elements to the ceiling. So if you want to know how to bring the interior to life, there's a lot of things you can do that we did to the exterior that you can also apply to the interior. We're just going to do it together today on Model with Mel. We are almost done with this floor plan, which is crazy. So I'm going to put everyone on Instagram, flip the camera over and show the model where we're at, and we'll get started on those interior details. So if you want a better look at the screen, you can pop over to YouTube where I'm live streaming a screen recording and a webcam of my face. So I'm going to pop up everyone in Instagram. Hello to everyone coming on live. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to work on a lot of these interior details. So we're going to add some paneling, we're going to add some wall base, and we're just going to go over how to do that, how to create different profiles. So if you go to the wall tool, you can pick wall sweep or wall reveal. So we'll do a sweep. Right now it's set to be a cornice, so if I go into edit type, what it's going to let me do is it's going to let me select a profile, and these are all the profiles that are currently loaded into the project. So what I'm going to want to do is none of these are profiles that I'm going to want to use. So I'm going to hit cancel. I'm going to go into insert, load family, and I'm just going to load some profile families in. So just give me 1 second. And I'm going to show you, once you have a profile loaded in, how you can manipulate it and make it your own. I could just do that with one of the, I'll actually do that with one of the ones in here. So let's go to bottom here. Instead of loading one in, I'm just going to change one of the existing profiles to show you guys how to do this. So you're going to scroll down in your properties bar and you're going to open up this little family category, and then it's going to show you every single thing you have loaded in here and all the categories loaded in. And I'm going to go down to profiles. So I'm just closing some of these things because there's so many things loaded in. I'm going to scroll down to profiles. So here we are. We're going to open up profiles, and you can see that we have a couple different ones. Some that were in there were sill precast, parapet cap. These other profiles are specific to other elements and tools that we use, but specifically to the wall sweep tool, we know that the sill precast was in there. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take this and I'm going to do new type. Okay, so what it's going to do is it's going to create a new sill precast. So that's how I could edit a family, a profile family under precast, 5 inches, 8 inches, 12 inches, and double click. I could rename this to 14 inches. I could go into the type properties here, and this is how I would change the precast settings to create another precast profile in the precast family. So that's how I would edit something and create a new one. But where I want to add in a whole new category that's not under sill precast, I am going to load in another profile. So I don't want to just duplicate this and still use this profile. This is allowing you to manipulate the current sill precast profile that is loaded into the project. So I'm just going to delete that because we don't actually need it. And so again, we're going to go to load family. I'm going to go to my family category. In my little folder, I have a bunch of families I've just saved. So we have wall sweep, cornice. So these all look like cornices. What I'm going to do is I'm going to load in cornice 2. And then when I go to wall, I can go to edit type. And now I can select cornice 2 as an option. And then when I select the wall, it now generates that cornice profile along the entire length of the wall. So you can see that's the profile, and it is just running along the top there. So I want to do a base. So this said cornice. The profile before was set to default, which if we switch it back, it's just a square. So I loaded in, again, an actual cornice profile, and I switched it down here. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go into edit type. I'm going to duplicate, and I'm going to do a base, because a cornice is something that goes up top. It's called a crown molding on the inside of a house. Usually the cornice is on the exterior. And so I'm just going to do base. And then for the profile, I'm going to leave that for a second. And now I'm going to scroll down, and profiles cornice 2 has been loaded. So I'm going to go here, I'm going to hit type properties, and I'm going to look at the dimension. So it looks like it's just a pre-set dimension. If I want to be able to change it, I have to right click on the cornice. Again, we're in the family all the way at the bottom, down in profiles. We're going to hit edit. And now this is going to bring us into the family. So now what I can do is I can actually manipulate this profile, and we're going to do that together. So I'm going to use something a little bit less ornate. I'm also going to do a save as family, and I'm going to call this wall base simple or something. I don't know. Wall base 1, and I'm going to save it, and now I'm going to manipulate it. So I'm just going to square this off. We'll keep some of these curves, but we can bring all this in. We don't need this. One thing you can't do is you can't select a line and hit create similar when you're in a family like this. You have to go to create, and you have to hit line. So you'll see here line profile. So when I create a line, I have to assign it something. So I'll click on it. Oh, it automatically did line profile. So we're just going to do a really simple base here. This is going to be a floor base. It's going to come up. Sure. You know, this is just make believe, but this is what we're going to do. We're going to load it into project. We're going to save it. It's going to load into the project. And now I can come here and I can load in wall base 1, switch that, and now I have my new profile that I just created. So I did not start from scratch. I rarely ever do that. I use what's available to me and I manipulate it. So I'm not ever starting over. I'm always utilizing whatever is at my fingertips to make it easier for me. So this is our wall-based profile, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to set the offset from the floor to 0. Now it's at 0. We can manipulate it with this little button here. I'm just going to drag that to the end of the casework. I wonder if you can do a wall sweep. So you can add or remove to 1. I want to know if I can do a wall sweep. So I'm going to select the base. Can't pick up on the face of a cabinet, but that's fine. So what I'm going to do is move the section box out, but cut it this way so I can see over here. And I want to add it into the same one. So you can also modify returns. Let's see what that looks like. We can just cut the edge. Let me pull that in so we can see what we're doing here. So it's forcing it to turn the corner there. You can see it going into the wall. Modify return if I hit that face again. So I'm going to undo that for now and pull that in. So it doesn't look like it's letting me change it. So I'm going to add or remove, and now I'm going to select this wall and this wall. And you can literally just click on the wall face and it's adding it. So it's running the full length of the wall. We don't want it to run into the other room, so I'm just going to drag it. So it's just in the living room. We're just doing this base in the living room. So I can go to a floor plan and see what I'm working with in floor plan. And then if I didn't want to see the floor base show up in my floor plan, I'm just going to hit VV and I'm going to go to walls. We're going to expand this open and we're going to turn off wall sweeps because we don't want to see that in our floor plan. It's a little bit too nitty gritty. So again, add wall, selecting this one. These are technically two separate walls, but I'm just going to drag that over. Oh, it says that it is. So it looks like it wants me to select that wall. Interesting. I want to remove that one over there. So it's a bit odd to me. So when I hit add, it adds it to the whole segment of the wall. And let me just do HH to temporarily hide some of these things so I can sort of see what's going on in 3D. So again, I'm just hitting HH a million times every time to hide these walls. So that's running straight through, but when I go to remove it, again, it's removing that whole wall. And when I pull this back, it's still not letting me remove that. So we're just going to leave it in here, little section. We're not even going to see it because again, we're only focused on creating a money shot of this main living area space, and we don't really need to worry about the bedrooms. But I love the fact that it's automatically cutting around the doors for me. That is really important, and I love that it does that. So I'm gonna just again hit that wall, and that looks good. So now that we have our wall base and we've created the profile and we've loaded it in, we can reset this so we can see the whole image. And now what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to go back into edit type. So we've created our profile, we've assigned the profile, we've created the base. It is setting into cut wall. So now what we want to do is we want to select the material. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to assign a white base. Now what I want to do is I want to paint some of the walls on the inside and start adding some depth to the project. So I have a lot of different colors for the interior wall currently. It looks like I probably just have it set to white. So if I go in here, it'll say interior white, white. So I'm going to paint this. and I'm going to use interior, and that's automatically going to turn it yellow. So I'm going to go to manage materials, and within here I'm going to select my interior wall. Here we can see that the color is set to yellow, and I'm just going to make it something more like nice to look at, basically. So maybe like a blue, not something crazy. These are like awful colors. Again, that's like a really harsh blue. But I want to show that you can literally like do interior design stuff the same way that we did the exterior. We can do the interior stuff. So we're doing a wall base here. Something that we could do is do a wall base on the exterior if we wanted to. That's not currently a part of this project, but it would work the same way in terms of selecting the wall sweep and then just selecting the profile of the outside of the wall. And that's going to automatically cut around the doors and do everything for you. So I'm going to go in now. I'm just going to paint all of the walls in this room to be this interior color. I definitely think I need to tone it down a little bit. The blue is very strong. So I'm just going to go in here and again, maybe just like, I want it to be like deeper but lighter. Does that even make sense? All right, that's good enough for me. For what we're doing right now, I'm just going to move this over to the side, and I'm just going to paint all these surfaces. So this I'll paint. I hit tab to do that. I did paint the underside of this ceiling by accident, but I'll show you how to fix that in a moment. So again, I'm going to paint this wall. I'm going to paint this wall up here. I'm going to paint this wall up here. I'm going to hit tab. I'm going to paint this one. Hello, welcome to the live. So again, these are just all interior details we are adding. Painting the room. I'm going to show you now. I did not mean to paint this surface of the ceiling. So if we come over here to the small paint tool, there's actually a little arrow that says remove paint. And so I can just select that and automatically it's going to remove the paint that I just put on there. So now I'm going to pull this out. And I'm going to have these walls now. So you can see the material for the inside is sort of a wooden material. So I am going to leave that. I think it's fine. On the outside, I did go ahead and change that to white because it goes with our theme on the outside. So now I'm going to switch this back to paint or painting. And there we go. So now our entire living room kitchen area is this nice, really poppin' blue, really deep blue. So that's how we did the base, and it's how we did a nice deep blue. And if I wanted to do like a simple base on the bottom, like a piece of a water table, like it's called water table trim, I could do that as well. I think we can do that to just go through this wall base feature again. Would a wall base really like have this huge shelf like this? Not really. This is probably more typical to like a crown molding that would go up at the ceiling. But again, this is just for an example moment. So I'm gonna scroll down and basically change this because I do want it to look a little bit more realistic. I just wanted you to know how to do that. So I'm gonna scroll down. Here's the wall base that I went into. I'm gonna right click and edit. It's automatically gonna open up that family for me. What I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna make this look a little bit more like a wall base, and it's just gonna be really simple. Wall bases usually don't have that much going on, and I am gonna load that in. Yes, I'm gonna save the changes. Yes, I'm gonna overwrite the file. Yes, I'm gonna overwrite all of that, and bam, all of a sudden it is all fixed. So now we have a more standard wall base on the inside of our project. And what we're going to do is we're actually going to now create a water table on the outside. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the wall base profile I just started. I'm going to go into here and I'm going to hit edit. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to do a save as of the file again. So I'm going to call this, instead of wall base, I'm going to call this exterior water table. And again, that's the bottom trim. So usually the water table is just a piece of trim. We could get fancy with it, but again, I just want it to be a simple piece. And yes, I want to save changes. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit back into the wall sweep, go to the base. I'm going to hit edit type. I'm going to duplicate this. I'm going to call it water table. And then I'm going to change the profile and change that to exterior water table. I'm also going to assign the material. I'm going to assign it white. And now I can select the water table. And it automatically goes on the wall where I'd like it to go. So this is also giving me ideas for other ways to do trim on the exterior. So the corner boards, for instance, I normally have been doing them with split face and then painting it. It's not a 3D element when you do that, but it still gets the look across. So another way that we can start to use some of these tools would be to use the wall sweep, but to change it to vertical. And I could just leave it as water table, but if I wanted it to be a different size, I would go in and change the profile of it to be a different size. But it does look like right now it is a pretty good size. So if I were to go back into the wall base, if I were to go back into the exterior water table and edit that family, I would just look and see so for some reason it's not letting me do a dimension. I'm not really sure why. So for some reason it's not letting me dimension this. It's not visible. Is it hidden? There's nothing really in this view that would allow me to. So I can see here that it does come on. So the piece height right now is 4 3/8 of an inch. So I would just change it to 4 1/2 to be like a standard piece of trim. And I could use that in both the water table and the side of the wall. So I'm just going in, I'm going to change this to 3/4 of an inch. Alrighty, because that's usually how thick wood is. Again, we're going to overwrite this, we're going to save it, we're going to load it in, and it's only going to change it for these pieces here. So again, multiple ways to do the corner boards. I've also done wall base out of floors before. Again, you can really do a whole bunch of different techniques. And we're just clicking around to add the water table base. And then again, if I want to try to do the vertical wall sweep, place it right there. And then I'm just going to go to a right view of this. And I'm going to delete that, and I'm going to see if I can just join, or actually I could just lift up that piece of trim right there. So now what it's doing is it's actually giving me depth to the corner board. These are dying into each other because they are the same depth, and the corner boards are actually sticking out like they would be. So I feel like this is a really great way if you did want to go the extra step and start adding in the depth instead of just the pieces of painted corner boards. It definitely makes sense if you want to spend time doing that. Again, it's not necessary. This is just another way to achieve the extra level of detail and, like I said, more depth to your project. So I'm not going to go through and add vertical pieces where I have the corner board split face right now. I think that it's fine for what I'm doing with this project, but I did want to go through and add that water table as well as the interior trim, the base on the interior. So if we go back into the project, here we can see that we have this nice open space. And what I want to do is I want to go to the ceiling plan. And I want to add in some collar ties. And how I'm going to do that is I'm going to just use the floor slab, or I could use ceiling. Let's do ceiling. So I could duplicate the ceiling. I'm going to do beams, or let's just call it what it is, a collar tie. And that's what it's going to be. So we're going to make it, we'll get rid of this. We only really need one layer for this. We're going to make the structure and the thickness of it is going to give us the depth of it. So a collar tie is usually like a 2x10, which is 9.25. So that's how I'm going to get the depth for it. And I'm just going to do white wrapped. So we'll make the whole thing wrapped in white, and I'm going to hit OK, and then I'm going to sketch this in. And when I sketch this, I can sketch the width of it. So I can do, we'd probably build out like a faux beam with the collar ties, and that's how we get the depth. So I'm just going to make it 10 inches, and I'm not going to do anything crazy. And then I'm going to start seeing how I want to lay these out. So putting this at 3 feet, and then copying this over at another 3 feet. We can even do 4 feet here. And then another 4 feet. So we'll do 3 feet from the wall. We'll move this 2 inches so it's exactly 4 feet in between them. I don't know why it keeps moving the entire foot. 2 inches. And I'm going to move this 6 inches. That was 6 feet. 6 inches. And those are what our collar ties are going to be. Now we're going to go here into the section, cut, 3D view, and we can see our collar tie beams going through. And I probably would raise these up like 1'6". I would really look at this in section and see where they need to be, but that looks about right. And now we have the faux beams that I just modeled out of the ceiling. Again, you could do that out of the floor too, whatever you can give depth to, and whatever makes the most sense for you as well. So the last thing we're gonna do is we're gonna do some paneling on the inside of this wall. And what we're going to use for that again is we're actually going to use this wall sweep tool, only it's going to be a wall reveal. So right away we can come in with the horizontal, and it's just cutting out whatever it's set to. So I can come down here and see all these profiles I have loaded in can now count towards this reveal profile. So I want to try and do like a little square beading molding. So like there's usually square paneling. Sometimes I would do that out of a wall. Like I'd place a 1-inch wall and then just draw the pieces like we did the batten board on the outside. But I want to try to do it this way because this is like a reveal pushing in, and like if I were to do the wall trim like the batten board, it's definitely like a physical thing that's coming out of it. So I'm going to scroll down to the profiles again like we've been doing. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the wall base one because that's probably the closest. I'm going to do edit. We're going to do save as. Again, we're going to call this a new family. So we're going to call this an interior reveal. And I'm going to change this shape to be like that, and we're gonna load it in, and now I'm gonna go to my reveal and I'm gonna change the profile to be interior reveal, and now we have a tiny little reveal. But I want to go in and make that look smaller. So I'm going to go back to the profile and I'm going to go into interior reveal. I'm going to edit it and I'm going to just see what do I want this height to be. I'm going to make it just 1 inch. That's a foot. So we're going to make that 1 inch. And we're just going to connect these lines. Load into project. Yes, yes, yes. Overwrite. Automatically fixed it. So now I can see that it is an indent into the wall. And I can then add one. If I wanted to do a vertical one, I'd have to start it again and do it vertically. So going like that. Hitting tab so that I can select just that reveal, and then manipulating it to just be this squared off section. I'm going to look at it in 2D, or in 3D rather, but I'm going to set that to be right on there. Then I'm just going to hit copy, and I'm going to copy it over. It's automatically snapping to some of these edges we have here. And then I'm just going to copy this like this. Could not create reveal. It failed to cut the wall. Okay, so let's try and do it again. Let's do it horizontal and let's cut the wall here. It worked when I did it that way, so it didn't like copying the horizontal one. For some reason, the vertical one was fine. So these are things that you can do And then we have our little paneling. And it's inside the wall. It's a reveal. And if I wanted to, I could just make it a little bit even. I have to manually manipulate these. I can't just like trim them or anything, which is kind of annoying, but it's okay. And then let's see if I wanted to highlight or select all of these reveals. Let's see if I could copy that up the wall. So I can't copy it up the wall. Well, actually I think I can. I had it on constraint. Okay. So it did have a little problem with the bottom one, but it looks like for the most part it was okay. And then I'm going to go back in. I'm just going to add that wall sweep that didn't work. We're going to select, I select the reveal. Okay. And there we go. Now we have a little paneling reveal in our project. And that is how you do it. So I think I gotta correct this over here and bring this inside. But these are the interior moves that I would make. And I'm excited for the way that this project has turned out. At the beginning of it, I just wanted to do the exterior. I was like, no, I'm not gonna really worry about the interior. But I'm glad that I did take the time to build out some of these interior pieces, just because I know that a lot of people who are interior designers also want to start using Revit, and it is really helpful. It's a good tool to start utilizing, especially these wall sweep tools and the reveal sweep tool. Just for like the inside trim and the outside trim, it definitely is a little bit easier than doing the trim out of the floor slab, which is also how I've done it in the past. Again, this allows you to just create any profile and it sweeps the wall with one click. So there are multiple ways to do things. It's always good to know other options and workflows and then choose whatever suits you for a specific project and something specific that you need to do. So just having discernment on the different workflows and different workarounds that you can utilize when you're modeling different aspects and elements in Revit. So I do want to do a cabinet material. I want to make it look better than just gray, and then the countertop we'll just do, you won't even really be able to see it. I'm gonna see if maybe there's like one loaded in here. There's a lot of different random things loaded in here. Countertop. Okay. And we'll see what that looks like. So it just gave us gray and white, which I think is fine. This is a different one, so I'm gonna have to do the same thing here. So again, I'm just gonna type in white. Here's my white. I'm gonna change it over here now to countertop. And then we're gonna have a really good interior shot with all of these details. So this is exciting. I'm gonna go to my floor plan. And I'm gonna take a camera view from here. It looks so heavy right now. And I'm just gonna expand it. And then we'll add some shadows. So the shadows kind of make it look a little weird on the interior. If we do shaded, we get a little bit of variety in what's happening to our wall faces here, but I feel like consistent color looks the best in my opinion. So I think the last material I'd want to change here is this flooring. So let me go into this material structure, wood flooring, and we're just gonna give it a little bit of a darker wood. It's also like kind of green, so maybe I'll do this and make it a little darker, still a little green yellow. So I'm just moving it down. Okay, that's probably good. And then I'm gonna add a surface pattern to it, and I'm just gonna do something that looks like wood. I should have a wood one in here. I think I can do model. Yeah, wood board wide. So we'll just do some wide slats and we'll set that up. And now we have a pattern. So now we have in our 3D view some floor actual like details on what the floor would look like, as well as the gyp showing up and all of these things showing up. So I feel like one thing I would do, would I change the furniture? No, we'll leave it. We'll leave it. So this is now our interior money shot. And I'm just kind of widening this, and that's what we're left with. If I go to the cut exterior, we can sort of see over here what's happening. Can't see the paneling I did, which is a shame unless I think I'll pull this back a little bit more. And then I'll go like that, and it looks beautiful. And that, folks, is all for this project. I'm so excited how it turned out. I did say I was going to drop them on some sheets, so let's just go to some sheets really quick. I think these already might actually be set up, so some of this stuff is set up. But I'm just going to delete these things. And again, you would just drag the view onto the sheet. This one's already on the sheet, so you can't do that. If I didn't want the floor to look like this in floor plan, because it's overwhelming, I'd go to visibility graphics. I'd set the floor surface pattern. I'd set it to be solid fill and white in floor plan view, because I do want it to show up in our interior view here as patterned, and I'll just override it in the floor plan view so it's solid and not distracting from the rest of the floor plan. So there we go. Just some sections, and that's how you'd place it on a sheet. This project will probably get some light construction detailing things like tagging doors. I'd go in and I'd add in some of these sinks and showers, but for the most part it's done, and I would put those finishing touches on it and then load it to my website for a stock plan. So this concludes the first ever season 1 of Model with Mel, and putting together a floor plan that Emily makes and then bringing it to life in Revit, and I design the exterior. And then I think of fun ways to also do the interior and explore different techniques and workflows with you all live, as well as designing things live as well and having people put their input in. So I'm so excited. We're gonna have to vote on the next project that we do, the next floor plan. I'll have to see which ones in my bank of floor plans I have that Emily has sent me, and we'll vote and pick one. I want to do like a big one, this was like a smaller one. It was good to start with, but I want to do a bigger one. And I did change my mind about doing some of the documentation stuff on the live. I just think that I don't think that's really interesting. I think it's more interesting to model, see how the workflow goes, see different ways to do things, explore the tools, make design decisions with me, and some of the construction documentation stuff isn't really as exciting. It's me like dimensioning or tagging windows and creating a schedule, basic things like that, and just setting up general organizations of the sheets. But again, you can just drag the view onto the sheet, and that's how you plop the view on, and you can just arrange it however you like. So yeah, I will be doing those steps again to make that like a finished stock plan for the website, but I'm gonna stop it, the development of this for the live series. I'm gonna close it out here for this house just because I don't think those parts are as fun. So again, we'll be voting on the next floor plan. This is so exciting. I thought it was gonna take me 7 or 8 hour-long lives, and it didn't. It took me 7. So it'll be interesting to see what the next project, based on the size, how long that takes. So I will see you guys next week. We'll be starting a new stock plan. So exciting. Alrighty, see you guys next time.